Hello, everyone. It's Greg Amsinger in Studio 3 with breaking news. We have, unfortunately, sad news to pass along. Hall of Famer Stan Musial passed away today at the age of 92. He's considered one of the greatest hitters ever in the face of the St. Louis Cardinals franchise. The man nicknamed Stan the Man played all 22 big league seasons with the same club. It's a sad day in St. Louis and throughout Major League Baseball. Here now, Matt Vasgersian with a look back at Stan Musial's remarkable career.
When you're doing something that you love to do, and being successful at it, it made it a lot easier. If you know, when I knew I was going to hit 300 every year, that made it a lot easier. Made your job a lot easier.
Born November 21st, 1920 in Donora, Pennsylvania, Stan the Man Musial was without a doubt one of the greatest players in Major League history. Musial was signed by the legendary Branch Rickey and the St. Louis Cardinals as a pitcher in 1938.
In high school, anybody has a good arm, they always make you the pitcher.
By the time he made his Major League debut on September 17, 1941, he was an outfielder. And in his first full season, 1942, the Cardinals won the World Series. By 1943, Musial led the National League in 6 offensive categories and won his first MVP award.
I was able to become a good hitter because early in my career, I learned how to hit the ball to the opposite field.
In 1945, after leading the Cardinals to their second World Series title in 3 seasons, Musial enlisted in the United States Navy, where he was assigned to non-combat duty. He was honorably discharged in March 1946.
Of course, everybody was interested and happy to come back in 1946, and you could feel everybody's hungry for baseball, and we were all anxious to get started again. So it was good to get back to baseball again.
When he returned to the Cardinals for the 1946 season, he won his second NL MVP award. In the World Series that year against Ted Williams' Red Sox, Musial had 6 hits and 4 runs batted in, helping the Cardinals win their 3rd World Series in 5 seasons. It would be Musial's final championship as a player.
The St. Louis Cardinals winning the 7th and final game of the 1946 World Series by a score of 4-3.
Before 1947, St. Louis, the only Southern city with a Major League team, had won 4 pennants in the previous 5 seasons.
It's a great thrill to play World Series. I wish I'd have done it when I was when I was a little older. I could appreciate a little more.
In 1947, Musial batted .312, a remarkable achievement considering he'd been diagnosed with appendicitis and tonsillitis in May and played the entire season before having surgery. In 1948, Musial had one of the greatest seasons in baseball history. He led the league in batting, RBI, doubles, triples, and finished a home run shy of the Triple Crown. He was the only National Leaguer from 1930 to 1996 to slug 700 in a season and became the first player to win 3 MVP awards in the National League.
The Cardinals in the 40s we had the Cardinal spirit. We had a great tradition. We played together. We felt like we could beat anybody. And most of the time we did.
Musial played in 24 All-Star games and retired with 9 All-Star game records. His most impactful appearance may have been in 1955, when he came up to the plate with the game tied 5-5.
Here comes Sullivan's first pitch. And there it goes. A home run over the right field screen.
In 1958, Musial was the first National League player to sign a $100,000 contract. That same year, he became the 8th player in history to reach 3,000 hits, with number 3,000 coming in, of all places, Wrigley Field, home of the rival Chicago Cubs.
Here's the pitch. Line drive, there it is! Into left field! Hit number 3,000! Musial ran first, on his way to second with a double!
Musial was unique on and off the field. After he finished a subpar 1959 season where he hit .255 with 14 home runs and 44 runs batted in, Musial requested and was granted a pay cut in 1960, making his salary $75,000.
A hot shot on the ground into right field, a base hit. First throw around third. No throw. The Cardinals lead 1-0. Listen to the crowd.
When Musial retired in 1963, he held or tied 29 National League and 17 Major League records. He was the National League's answer to Ted Williams. Even by today's standards, his numbers are still astounding. Musial is still in the top 10 in hits, RBIs, doubles, games played, and total bases. He hit 475 home runs despite never leading the league in that category, had 1,815 hits at home and 1,815 hits on the road, and was the first player to appear in more than 1,000 games at 2 different positions.
I set my sights on some things, and I tried to achieve those goals. I didn't try to compete against anybody else.
After retiring, Musial moved to the Cardinals front office and served as general manager for 1 season. That season was 1967, and in typical Musial fashion, the team excelled, winning the pennant and the World Series.
The Cardinals win. They're the new world champions.
He was elected to the Hall of Fame in 1969 in his first year of eligibility with 93.2% of the votes. That meant he spent more than 40 years as a living Hall of Famer.
So it's a pleasure and honor to be part of this great game, and I hope that I gave baseball as much as it gave to me.
He continued to live in St. Louis and remained married to his high school sweetheart Lillian for more than 70 years. Musial represented all that was right about our national pastime.
We're going to sing a song we all know and love, Take Me Out to the Ball Game.
In recent years, Musial threw out the first pitch for the decisive Game 5 of the 2006 World Series and delivered the ceremonial first pitch ball to President Barack Obama before the 2009 All-Star Game in St. Louis. Perhaps Ford Frick said it best in a quote inscribed on the Stan Musial statue that sits in front of Busch Stadium. Here stands baseball's perfect warrior. Here stands baseball's perfect knight.
As far as I was concerned, I was most happiest when I put on the uniform and played baseball.